Hey everybody, thanks for joining today. Today we're going to go over nutrition for older adults and health. And I've got a cooking demo, and I also have a little tour that will take on a free resource you can use online to kind of help you with your nutritional needs too as well. So we'll go over that at the end too. So hopefully everyone can see my screen of our presentation, and we'll go ahead and get started. So today we're going to go over what exactly nutrition is, why it's important, and then we're going to talk about calories and then caloric needs, and then eating healthy and aging, food and fluids for health, and then kind of briefly run over a healthy eating plan, just main things that everyone should be focusing on. I really don't like the word diet. I know myself, I use it quite a bit. So talking about a healthy eating plan, and then like I said, we'll take a tour of My Plate, a free resource you can use, and then a cooking demo video. So what is nutrition? So nutrition is about eating a healthy and balanced diet so your body gets the nutrients that it needs. So I typed in nutrition into Google, and these were all of the different definitions and kind of little quotes I found around nutrition. So there's the process of growth or obtaining the calories or food necessary for health and growth, food or nourishment. It's a branch of science that deals with nutrients and nutrition, particularly in humans. The biochemical and physiological process by which an organism uses food to support its life. Nutrition is the study of nutrients in food, how the body uses them, and the relationship between diet, health, and disease. It's a field of study focusing on foods and substances in foods that help animals and plants grow and stay healthy. And it's a study of how food and drink affects our bodies with a special regard to the essential nutrients necessary to support human health. So some things kind of jumped out at me. That's why I kind of bolded them. I kind of saw them as reoccurring. So those three words that kept appearing in the definition of nutrition was nutrients, calories or energy, which we can kind of use interchangeably, and health. So why are those important? Well, nutrients are substances in foods that our bodies need so that they can function and grow. This is going to include things that we've talked about countless times already: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Good nutrition is important no matter what your age is. It's going to give you energy, and it's going to help control your weight. It may also help prevent some diseases such as osteoporosis, high blood pressure, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. But as we age, our body and life change, and so does what you need to stay healthy. So those are kind of three things that really jumped out at me about what nutrition is. It's a focus on nutrients, calories, and energy, and then of course our health. So next up, we're going to break down calories a little bit further. Just to recap, calories, they are a unit of energy. Essentially, calories are a way to measure how much energy we are getting from what we eat and drink. Many factors affect how many calories adults need. Some of these factors you just simply can't change. For example, your age and your height. On the flip side, activity level is an example of something that impacts calorie needs, and that's something that you can totally control. Most people do not need to be counting calories on a daily basis. The best way to ensure that you're eating enough, but not too much, is to get in tune with your body. We all have individual hunger and fullness cues. So trying to get in touch with those personal cues is going to be super helpful. Try to combine those two words together. Super helpful to determine when and how much to eat. Weakness and shakiness and irritability are obviously signs of hunger. And so is pacing yourself to assess fullness. For example, slowly eating half of your meal and then taking a pause, giving your body a chance to begin to digest the food and think about how good it is and how comfortably full and satisfied you might feel already or are about to feel. One of the biggest things, and I actually just had a conversation with my aunts about this too, because they were talking about, there was this mom group on Facebook one of my aunts saw, and they were talking about how to control how much their children eat. And this one mom thought of a point system, and she, defined certain foods as good or bad, and she called them low foods and go foods. And she expected her kids to basically, calculate their points for what this food would be and what this food would be, And that would help them decide if they can have this snack or not. And that just blew my mind that that's absolutely insane that that's something parents are doing. But one of the biggest things that we as adults forget about is we really need to go back to how we were when we were babies. When we were full and we didn't want the milk anymore, we stopped eating or we spit it up. And when we were hungry, we cried. When we were done, we were done. We are so far away from our hunger cues this day and age that it's insane. So trying to channel back to those hunger and fullness cues like we have when we're children, when we're babies and toddlers, that is something that we all actually need to strive for. And that's actually going to help us a lot more in the long run than counting calories. But estimating calorie needs is something that people want to know. Calorie needs for adult women range typically from about 1,600 to 2,400 calories per day. For men, that estimate's going to range from about 2,000 to 3,000. Aiming for the low end of the range if you're mostly sedentary, so little to no activity. If you're more than moderately active, the high end of the range is going to be more reflective of your needs. But remember, as we age, our calorie needs decrease. Estimated caloric requirements have been determined using average heights and healthy weights for both men and women. And so again, these are just estimates. They take the entire population, the average person's height, their average weight, and that's how they come up with these estimates. And activity level is something that they really take into consideration of that, with the 3 levels of physical activity being sedentary, moderately active, and active. So here's just a nice little chart with estimated caloric requirements based on average heights and weights for healthy men and women. Remember, a lot of us overestimate just how active we are. Just because you work out for 1 hour or more a day doesn't mean that you're moderately active. If you have a desk job and you work out 5 to 7 days a week for an hour, but you do nothing outside of that, you are sedentary. I know that people don't want to consider themselves sedentary, but just because you work out for an hour a day and then sit at work and then sit in your car and go home, and then maybe you do things on your feet for about an hour at home, but then you're sitting and having dinner and then you're sitting and watching TV, you are sedentary. So overestimating how active we are causes us to overestimate how many calories we should be taking in, which over time is going to cause weight gain. So that's just something I want to stress and consider. So now let's talk about healthy eating and aging. Some changes that can happen as you age can make it harder for you to eat healthy. These changes are going to include your home life, such as suddenly living alone or having trouble getting around. Your health, which is going to make it harder for you to cook and feed yourself. Medicine, which can change how food tastes, make your mouth feel dry, or it can even take away your appetite. Your income, so you may not have as much money for food. Sense of smell and taste, and problems chewing or swallowing your food too as well are things that can affect eating healthier as we age. So how can we eat healthy as we age? That is a big question that we get quite a bit. And some of the answers are simple and some, well, not so much. The biggest part of eating healthy as we get older is to remember our mindset around eating. Our relationship about food is way more important than we think. Knowing what options are the best for you, which are not, and being able to say no, and understanding why you're doing what you're doing, all of that comes into play. So just to go over some tips to eat healthy as we age, this slide is going to share the do's of eating healthy and aging, and then the next slide is going to focus on the don'ts. So eating foods that give you lots of nutrients without a lot of extra calories. So fruits and vegetables, whole grains like oatmeal, whole wheat bread, brown rice, fat-free or low-fat milk and cheeses, seafood, lean meats, poultry, eggs, beans, nuts, and seeds. Making sure that we're drinking enough liquids because hydration is also a part of nutrition. Some people lose their sense of thirst as they age. If you have a desk job and all you do is just sit, you're not getting up and moving as much, and maybe you're not talking, so you don't realize how dehydrated you actually are. Being physically active. If you started to lose your appetite, exercise can help you, start to feel hungrier again. Following a healthy eating pattern across the lifespan, because all food and beverage choices matter. Choosing a healthy eating pattern at an appropriate calorie level to help achieve and maintain a healthy body weight, meet your nutrient needs, and lessen the risk for chronic disease. Focusing on variety, nutrient density, and amount. So getting within those calorie limits, making sure we're choosing a variety of nutrient-dense foods across all of the food groups. We're not taking anything out of our food groups. And then just making simple shifts to healthier food and beverage choices, choosing nutrient-dense foods and beverages in place of less healthy choices, and choosing foods that you like to make those shifts even easier to maintain. And I've got some simple little shifts coming up here in a few slides too as well. So now moving on to what we need to avoid: empty calories. Obviously, we know this. Foods with lots of calories but few nutrients: chips, candy, baked goods, soda, and alcohol. And then limiting calories from added sugars and saturated fats, and then watching our sodium. Cutting back on foods and beverages that are high in added sugars, saturated fats, and sodium, because again, what we drink matters too as well. And making sure that we're picking foods that are low in cholesterol and fat. And we talked about this last week too. Trying to look at saturated fats that usually come from animals, trans fats that are processed fats like margarine and vegetable shortening. And you're going to find a lot of those types of fats in store-bought baked goods and fried foods at some of your fast food restaurants. So just trying to watch what we're eating there too as well. So now I want to talk about some specific foods that we can eat to improve our memory, eyesight, and more. So if you're feeling forgetful, which pregnancy brain, that's me right here, it could be due to a lack of sleep or a number of other reasons, including genetics, your level of physical activity, your lifestyle, and environmental factors. And actually, lifestyle and environmental factors and the role that they play in nutrition is something we're going to talk about week 9. And that's easily one of my favorite topics. I wrote countless papers about that when I was getting my master's degree. So I'm super excited to talk about that. So that plays a huge role too as well. But there is no doubt that diet also plays a role in brain health. And the best menu for supporting memory and brain function encourages good blood flow to the brain, much like what you'd eat to nourish and protect your heart. So trying to focus on foods that we can better support our brain too as well. So eating your vegetables. You're likely not going to forget this message. I don't know how many times we've had to talk about this, but getting adequate vegetables, especially the cruciferous ones, broccoli, cabbage, dark leafy greens, that's going to help improve your memory. Being sweet on berries and cherries. Berries, especially dark ones, such as blackberries, blueberries, and cherries, are going to be rich in those antioxidants and flavonoids that can help support memory function. And then getting adequate omega-3 fatty acids. Those are obviously, we all know fatty acids are really good for brain health, especially omega-3s. And those are going to help improve our memory. Seafood, algae, fatty fish, so salmon, bluefin tuna, sardines, and herring are the best sources for omega-3 fatty acids. And I know some people, fish may not be for them, but trying to substitute fish for other meats once or twice a week to get that healthy dose, grilling, baking, broiling fish, trying to get that ultimate flavor and nutrition. If for some reason that's not for you, definitely suggesting to check out omega-3 fatty acid supplements too as well, like fish oil supplements. That way you're getting that. And then working in walnuts. Those are well known for a positive impact on heart health. They can improve cognitive function. And that's like a really, really good snack that's going to be full of those healthy fats and some extra protein that you can have in the afternoon too as well. So of course, there's no guarantee that these foods are going to help you remember where you put your keys tomorrow, but over time, they can support lifelong good health. So some foods for thought. And now we've got food for sight. So if your eyes have all the nutrients they need to help prevent cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, and other sight woes, well, if that's something that you're worried about, maybe that runs in your family, or you've gone to the doctor recently and that's something that's gotten brought up, we've got to get the nutrients and our best sources of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants from whole foods to help protect our eyesight. So kale, leafy green, source of lots of vitamins, vitamin A, beta carotene. That's going to help protect eye tissues from sunlight damage and reduce the risk of eye changes related to aging. Other good sources, if kale's not for you, you've got collard greens, turnip greens, spinach, broccoli, peas, kiwi, red grapes, yellow squash, oranges, corn, papaya, and pistachios are all really good options too as well. Sweet potatoes. They're kind of called the color of health. Beta carotene is going to give those tubers their orange color, and your body converts beta carotene to vitamin A. Again, what we talked about just a little bit ago, that's a nutrient that's going to help prevent dry eyes, but also night blindness. So that's something that's super important. If sweet potatoes aren't your favorite, try other deep orange foods such as our trusty carrots or butternut squash. And dark green foods like spinach and collard greens are going to be really good too. But also liver, milk, and eggs are excellent sources of vitamin A. So there's another thing that we can focus on. So more food for sight. We have strawberries. Not sure what's going on with my bullet point there, a little empty one. So strawberries, those are going to help you see better because fresh, juicy strawberries are a good thing for your eyes, and they contain plenty of vitamin C, which is an antioxidant that's going to help lower your risk for cataracts. Also making sure that you're loading up your plate with other vitamin C rich foods like bell peppers, broccoli, citrus fruits, and cantaloupe, and then healthy fats too as well. So besides helping with the absorption of certain nutrients, healthy fats also contain those omega-3s, which also is beneficial for eye health too as well. So like we just talked about, salmon, trying to incorporate fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week if we can. But if fish isn't the thing for you, walnuts, flax, and chia seeds are also good options too as well. And then, as I said, hydration is also a part of nutrition. So it's important to have plenty of fluids each day. Water helps you digest your food, absorb nutrients from food, and then get rid of all of that unused waste. Water is found in foods, both solids and liquids, as well as in its natural state. And so just remember, water is always a good way to add fluids to your daily routine without adding calories like we would get from pop. So trying these tips to get enough fluids. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. Always keep that water bottle close by you so you see it, because when you're thirsty, you are already dehydrated. Taking sips of water, or if you're having a glass of milk with dinner, taking some sips of that beverage between your bites during meals can help get those liquids in, and it can also help you not eat too much because you're kind of stopping what you're doing. You're not eating and you're taking a quick little drink and kind of taking a break and letting your body digest that food. Drinking a full glass of water whenever you take a pill, having a glass of water before you exercise, for things like that. And then, of course, got to bring up alcoholic beverages. If you're going to drink those, do it sensibly and in moderation. So 1 drink per day for women and 2 drinks per day for men. So next up, healthy eating plan. Eating a healthy, balanced diet is one of the most important things that you can do to protect your health. By now, we all know that. It's going to help lower our risk of developing certain diseases. And so we got to focus on what a healthy, balanced diet looks like. So again, stressing it one more time, probably not the last time, eating lots of fruits and vegetables, super important diet habit here, because we're going to get all those nutrients that we need and help us maintain a healthy weight by keeping us feeling fuller longer because of all that fiber. Choosing whole grain foods, whole grain bread, crackers, brown wild rice, quinoa, oatmeal. They are prepared using the entire grain. So they're going to have all of the fiber, the protein, and the B vitamins to help us stay healthy and full longer. Eating protein foods, legumes, nuts, seeds, tofu, fish, shellfish, eggs, poultry, lean red meats. You guys know all the proteins. We've stressed it enough this summer with all of our seminars here. So trying to get those protein, limiting highly processed foods. We know that these foods are changed from their original food source, and they've got a ton of added ingredients that we want to avoid, because during processing of all of those foods, all of those important nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and fiber are going to be removed, but then salt and sugar get added in. Making sure that we're drinking water to help support and promote hydration without adding calories to our diet. Watching our portion sizes. So the amount of food and drink that we consume in one sitting is going to be a portion, just a reminder. So being aware of food portions and serving sizes and reading those labels like we just talked about. And then just planning ahead. Consuming healthy meals and snacks is going to be easier when you plan ahead. So pick 1 day a week to plan your meals ahead of time, prepare them, put them into those airtight containers so then you're ready to go. And also cutting up fruits and vegetables when you bring them home from the store makes them even more readily available. And then you're able to grab those healthy options. And then earlier I mentioned just some quick healthy food shifts, just some simple snack shifts that you can make if you got that mid-afternoon pain and you're really hungry. Instead of reaching for chips, go for carrots. Instead of going for refined grains, go for whole grains. Just simple little things that we can do throughout the day is going to help us out. And then in the drink category, instead of a medium latte with whole milk, get a small with fat-free milk. Instead of Coke, have some water, add some fruits and vegetables to it. Sweetened iced tea, go for some sparkling water with some natural lemon flavor instead. If you're someone that has to have like those bubbles and that concentration, trying to find those sparkling waters can help with that too. So next up, we are going to go to my plate and also to our cooking demo. So let me flip my screen here. Perfect. Can everybody see my plate? If you cannot see this website right now, just drop a comment or say something real quick, but hopefully you can see this. So myplate.gov is a free resource for everybody. You can create an account, but you do not have to. But one thing that's really cool on here is, are you making every bite count? Take a simple quiz to find out, and then you can get personalized resources through MyPlate. So you take this quiz, the first question asks for your name, but that's optional. And then it's going to ask you kind of like what your goals are. So I don't have to put my name in here. What are your top 3 healthy eating goals? So if you've got any of those goals, you can click into those, click continue, and it's going to continue to ask you more and more questions until it kind of targets your goals, who you are as a person, your activity level, different things like that. And then it's going to pull up a bunch of resources for you that you can use. So again, free resource, really nice to have. Go back to the home page here. So you've got that quiz option, but then maybe you just are curious about more protein foods, dairy, different things like that. So they've got everything from the My Plate. You know, we went from the pyramid to the plate of all of the foods that we want to make sure we're incorporating every single day. So you can learn more about those there too as well. They also have their Start Simple app. So this is a free app that you can download too as well. It's got fun challenges that you can join, help you finding those daily food groups to make sure you're incorporating those into every single meal. So that's a really cool resource too as well. And then just down at the bottom, they've got some recipes, they've got more resources. And then again, you can get that personalized meal, My Plate plan, by taking that little quiz that I showed you up at the top. So a free resource for everybody that we can utilize. And now we're going to get into a little cooking demo. So every Sunday, I meal prep my meals for the week. So this was what I had for lunch all week this week. So we're going to watch me make my favorite Greek salad. After I made this, we went golfing. So if you see my outfit and you're like, wow, she wears weird things when she's at home cooking, that is that is going to be why.
Hey everybody, so today I want to show you how to make one of my favorite meals, and I just call it Greek salad. It's got garbanzo beans or chickpeas. It has Greek olives, tomatoes, cucumbers, feta cheese, and some seasonings too as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I make it. And it's something that I use for meal prep, so I divide it up evenly for 5 days of the week. And that's what I take with me for my lunch, and it is so packed full of fiber and protein, and it keeps me feeling full, and it gets me through the rest of the day too. So first things first, I've got my cucumbers. They are all peeled and ready to go. Just got to get them nice and sliced and quartered. Cucumbers are all done. Next up is going to be tomatoes.
So
these are actually half left over from the last time I made this, from last week. So I use about half of a container. And all I do is I just slice them right in half, just like that. Tomatoes are done. Next up is the olives, and I actually cheat and I buy the already sliced Greek olives. And what I will do is I actually had to get a new jar for this serving. I'm telling you, this is my favorite. I have it a lot. I will actually do about half the jar, and I actually use some of the juices to season the dish too as well. So about half the jar and about a tablespoon or 2 of the juice is going to go into the mixing bowl. And then of course, the main part of the dish is going to be the garbanzo beans or chickpeas. Again, we've talked about this before. We literally talked about it in the food labeling week. If you went to my grocery store tour, virtual, I talked about looking at labels too as well, making sure we're looking at the reduced sodium for canned vegetables. It's just gonna really help on that sodium content. And another thing that I also do is I take the beans out of the can, drain all of the juice that's inside that can. And then I also just dump them into a strainer and then I rinse them off with water. You'll be able to see all of the sodium from all of the bubbles that are going to pop up. And then I just let this sit and kind of let some of the water kind of slowly drip out. And then this will go into our mixing bowl too as well. And then the last thing to add is my feta cheese. Use about half a container for that. And then you're just gonna mix everything up. So I've got the cucumbers, the tomatoes, the beans, and my cheese in here. And a little bit of the oil from the Greek olive jar. Just to get everything kind of evenly distributed before we add some more seasonings. That way, whatever was on top doesn't take all of it. All right, so that's what we're working with. Next up is seasoning. So I'm not a big fan of eating raw onion. A lot of times I will add a purple onion to this too as well, but sometimes I'll just add in just a little bit of onion powder just to give it that flavor. I love a good grilled cooked onion, but raw onion's just not my favorite. And then garlic cloves, or if you have garlic where you get like the chunks of garlic, that's going to be another addition you're going to want to add. I don't measure anything when I make this, if you can tell. So hopefully you're not someone that is super intricate on measuring things. And then olive oil. What I do is I just drizzle a nice little zigzag over the top, and that's it. I don't like things very with a heavy base. I don't like things to have that much stuff on it, so I don't add a whole lot of olive oil. And then red wine vinegar. Same thing. This one I'll do about like 3 or 4 zigzags just because it's got the holes at the top. Makes it a little harder for it to come out. And then I'm going to stir this all together, and that is it. Super simple, huge flavor. If you're someone that really likes like pasta salads, one thing that you can add to this if you want it to be a little creamier is you can get some plain Greek yogurt. And I would add like maybe a half a cup, 3/4 cup, depending on what kind of consistency you like. But that's another good addition to this if you're someone that just likes creamier dishes. But I just love this because of the fresh taste to it that it has with very little added to it. And I will eat this for lunch every day this week, and it is my favorite. And one thing that I actually do is I will let this sit in the bowl for a minimum of an hour just so everything kind of take in those flavors, and then I will portion it up into my 5 servings for the week. So this is my favorite Greek salad. Hey everybody, so today I'm going to show you.
Play again. There we go. All right, so that is a little cooking demo, and I can say adding to that too as well, as the week goes on, the water from the cucumbers and then like the tomatoes and all of those things too, that creates more of a liquid base to add to that too as well. So it's not like you're eating a dried thing of beans by any means. There's tons of flavor in that. So if you ever want any little tips or meal prep ideas from me, I've got tons that I've tried all throughout too as well. So you can always reach out and I can help you plan your meals for the week. But that's a super easy one. No meat, getting all the protein from the beans and the feta cheese too as well. So that's a really nice way too. If you're someone that's not really into having a whole lot of meat a lot throughout the week, that's a really good meal prep idea for you. So that is all I have for you today. Next week, we're going to go over kids nutrition. So any moms and dads out there, if you need some tips and advice on feeding our children, which I kind of dabbled on it a little bit with our hunger cues earlier today too as well. And then I'm also going to have a cooking demo for that. And don't just think it's going to be like a kid focused one. That cooking demo is something that I eat all the time as a snack. So it's going to be a really healthy snack option that we can make for kids or grandkids too as well. So that's all I have for you this week. If anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute or throw them in the chat. But otherwise, I hope everyone has a really good long 4th of July weekend.